Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of The Fishing Teacher, and thanks a lot for checking out today's video. And guys, today we are going to sort of explain what a thermocline is for anglers just starting out fishing, and sort of like how it affects fish, how it affects that you should be fishing, and sort of simplify it a little bit because I think there's a lot of misunderstandings around it, so we're going to get into that. So real quick guys, just want to give you our weekly reminder about please swing by fishthemoment.com and check out our fall lake map breakdowns. If you guys are getting ready for your fall fishing, this is a great way to get you some good spots right off the bat, and I'll put the link in the description for that. The link for the Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns in the description of this video. So much appreciated. Okay guys, you probably heard, or you will hear if you're getting started in fishing, about the thermocline and fishing and how it relates to fishing and what fish do in it. Now, just sort of like a simple explanation of what a thermocline is without getting into a bunch of big scientific reasoning for it. It's basically a level or a depth in the water that has a significant water temperature change. And a lot of times it's visible even on your electronics. It's such a visible change that you can actually see it as a line across your electronics. But what happens is the thermocline pretty much is a factor during the warmer months, you know, summertime of the year. And what it does, it sort of positions the fish more in certain types of waters, because the thermocline, say for example in a lake you have a thermocline where there's a big water separation, maybe down at 20 foot. If you have a thermocline at say 20 foot, you don't have a lot of action below 20 foot as far as fish activity and fish using those depths for a lot of different reasons. A lot of it has to do with oxygen levels, but for the most part, the fish in the summertime, if you're fishing deeper offshore areas, they're going to be just above that thermocline. So how does this, affect how you need to approach your game as far as, finding fish and that type of stuff? So we'll talk a little bit about that specifically if you're fishing deep water. Now, if you're fishing shallow water, you don't have to pay any attention to it, but if you're fishing deep water, it sort of gives you some good indicators. First of all, you have to locate the thermocline on the lake you're fishing, and the thermocline depth on the lake that you're fishing is going to be influenced by largely your water clarity, because in general your water clarities, if you have really clear water, the thermoclines may be a little bit deeper, and if they're a little bit more off-colored water, those thermoclines can be shallower. And some lakes don't have thermoclines at all. Say for example, if you have a lake that's got a lot of current in it, a lot of water flow, or really dirty water, you may not even have a thermocline, or shallower water. So the thermocline, it's different in every single lake. But for the most part, in the summertime of the year, if you're dealing with a body of water that has water visibility of say, 2.5 to 5 feet in clarity, which covers a lot of the lakes across the country, your thermoclines are normally going to be in that 20 to 30 foot range for the most part. Now, one way that you can find them if you can't see it on your electronics, because you have to have them fine-tuned just right to do it, is say for example, if you got just a regular 2D unit and you don't have anything else fancy besides just a 2D unit, if you graph around the areas that you want to fish, say you're going down a steep bank, or so you're fishing points or whatever like that, pay attention to where you see a lot of fish activity and bait fish activity. Now, bait fish on a 2D sonar will look like little round balls like that, and a lot of times they're sort of yellow in the middle, and those are shad schools. And if you see a lot of shad schools, say at 15 feet, but you don't see any shad schools below 25 feet, there's a good indication that the thermocline is sort of set up in that 15 to 20 foot zone. Now, there's two different ways to fish an area based upon the thermocline. You can either fish for suspended fish, or you can fish for the bottom, on the bottom areas, many times on the same areas. Now, here's one of my favorite areas, to fish the thermocline around in the summertime. Get out on any main lake point, especially if it's got some deeper water around it. Graph around that point a little bit, pay attention to where the activity you see is. And then if you're out in deeper water, say you're out off on that point in 50 or 60 foot of water, and you see some shad out there 10 or 15 feet down, or maybe some fish activity, throw a little swim bait out there in that open water and count it down to 10 or 15 feet, because those fish could be suspended off in those deeper water areas. But if you have structure on the bottom, say you graph around a point and you're in 15 or 20 foot of water, and you can see some rough areas or rocks on your depth finder down there, or brush or something like that, try fishing the bottom in 15 or 20 foot of water, because you're still going to be above that thermocline level. So the main thing, guys, is just sort of being aware of where that's at and sort of realizing that the thermocline is pretty much going to last sort of between, you know, June and maybe, you know, early into September. Then it sort of fades away a little bit with that. But don't get don't get intimidated by it. Don't think about it too much. Don't overanalyze it much. Most of the time, like I said, as a good rule of thumb, even if you're fishing in a clear water lake in the summertime of the year, you're going to be fishing less than 30 foot of water, even if you're in deep water. Now, in the wintertime or the fall time of the year, when the thermocline goes away, those same fish may go down 50, 60 feet. And because, you know, there's not any of that massive water temperature separation. So just a little bit to learn about fishing. There's so much to learn, but hopefully this sheds a little light on it. So we'll talk later.